Okay, reading from Madhya-lila, chapter 8, text 76. See if you can turn the fan on just a little bit. And if it doesn't make too much noise, all the way far to the left. Now, okay, shut it off and then open the door and open the window. Madhya-lila, chapter 8, text 76. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prabhu kahe eho uttama agi kaha rāya kahe vātsalya-prema sarva-sādhya-sāra. The Lord said this statement is very good. Okay. Please proceed even further. Ramananda Roy then replied, loving service to the Lord in parental relationship is the highest perfectional stage. Om Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmulatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale. Oops, what happened? Okay. Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Baye Baja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. We had a very nice, when the Pavani is here, she came to thank me this morning spontaneously. How nice the Srila Prabhupada's disappearance festival was in my room. Because what we did is at 11 o'clock in my room, first there was it went on all morning at the palace, but we arranged that Burijan and Jayadvaita Maharaj could speak early and come over to my house because we wanted to have the special. Do you know what that is? That sound?
Construction.
What?
The construction just on the other side of the park.
Is that what it is? Can you shut the windows? It's any noise. We had a special kind of function for the Vaishnavas from my favorite country in the Middle East. And it was really, sentiments were very, very deep. You can fix that sound or what?
Okay. I don't think it's fixable. And it will be very long.
We did really great with noise during, what are they doing there?
They're throwing some steel rods, whatever.
Oh, okay, so it's a temporary thing. Okay.
Temporary. Temporary can take quite some time.
Okay. It's just a crashing sound in the back, trying to get focused. went over to the Govardhan Retreat Center. It's quite amazing. 20 acres of land. They can room about 300 people, beautiful facilities. And in the middle, they have their own little Govardhan Hill with the Govardhan Shila. It's quite amazing. So it was, and I also got to speak, I told you it was temporary. I also got to speak at the Japa training program of the Russian Yatra, who was holding a retreat at Braj Visundar, which is like a resort near here. Raghunath and his group will stay there. I got to speak for an hour and a half there. Then I got to speak here, and then in the evening. It's temporary, but it can begin again. Okay. Anyway, I've been doing Ramananda Samvad, and at this time of the year, you know, I have my Puri Yatra. I have my seminars in Mayapur and the Puri Yatra, and then Colombia. And I really want to do my best. So what I'm figuring on doing is summarizing different stories, you know, maybe for one day or 1 or 2 days. And I'm really excited about Uddhava Business Vrindavan. I kind of got that together. And now this Ramananda Samvad, which is really a study of comparative religion, because it's called Ramananda Samvad discussion. I remember many, many years ago, I was lecturing on this in at a place in the MBT. And I was lecturing on this, and I made the mistake of saying Ramananda Siksha, because it appears that Ramananda Roy is instructing Lord Chaitanya. So I said Ramananda Siksha. And the old postman who used to come to my classes, Dadu, he said, no, Ramananda Samvad. Samvad means discussion. And the first verse of the chapter describes this, how it's instruction but discussion. And it describes this with a very interesting analogy. It describes the relationship between the ocean and the clouds. How does the ocean get water? By the rain. But how does the clouds get rainwater? When the ocean dries up. So it's not, although one may appear to be filling the other, it's kind of a mutual thing. And that's described the relationship between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya comes and asks him questions, and he responds. So it appears that Ramananda Roy is like the rain, that it's filling up the ocean, or he's instructing Lord Chaitanya. But where is Ramananda Roy getting his inspiration? Ultimately, it's from Krishna or Lord Chaitanya. So as the story goes, the connection between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy is that Lord Chaitanya developed a relationship with Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya, who is the most learned scholar in Navadvip. And Navadvip was a center of learning. And Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya studied logic in Benares. I think what's happening, it's quite crowded in Govardhan, and there's something when that happens with the thing. So anyway, what Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya did, though, he was so I said, scholarship used to be such a big thing. Like today we have, heavyweight champion of the world, but scholars used to compete. And if you, a little soft until I get going, I need like 5 or 10 minutes to kind of get spontaneous. Scholars used to compete. And if you were defeated, you really had to become the disciple of the other person. So scholarship was like a really big thing, not sports or beauty contests, but the culture, the scholarship. And Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya took this Navanyaya, this new form of very powerful logic, and he took it to Navadvip, which was really a powerful center of learning. So, it wasn't that big because he was by Puri. So the other scholars. And after he became a Vaishnava, because initially Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya wasn't a Vaishnava. Even, I told this many times, his brother-in-law introduced Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya to Lord Chaitanya. And he was actually upset with Sarva-bhauma Bhattacharya's interactions with Lord Chaitanya. And he got so frustrated, he looked at him and said that even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead is standing right before you, you cannot see him because you think yourself a separate and independent God. It's just a basic principle. If you think you're the center, you'll never see who it is. That's why to enter Vrindavan, you have to pray to the Digpals, which is Lord Shiva in the 4 directions, who protects the Dham. And how does he protect the Dham? By false ego. If you have false ego, then you can't see what's there. So we pray to remove the false ego, so that we can actually understand Krishna. And people who come here in the right mood, they see how their consciousness and vision changes so pronouncedly when they're here, when they come in the right way. So anyway, somehow he was familiar with Ramananda Roy, who although he was a magistrate, he was Raja Rishi, or Rajarshi. Rajarshi means there were kings who are very, very scholarly. So he somehow, before Lord Chaitanya left to South India, he told him, you really should want to meet Ramananda Roy. This would be important in Lord Chaitanya's journey of, I call it education and realization, because he had some understanding of the mood of Sri Radha, but it wasn't yet fully mature. I was just listening by a tape by Prabhupada, and he was criticized. Is everybody, it's going to go out every 3-4 minutes. It didn't on Wednesday, it means a crowd of people. Is everybody, when it goes out, just trying to remember some point I said and chanting Hare Krishna so we don't waste that time? What was my last point, Junior Prabhu?
I was holding it and I lost it now. The book about this, the book that...
The book of... Oh yeah, okay. And what Prabhupada said is, he said, but what book does he have? Anybody with any realization has a book. What book does he have? So anything you want to perfect yourself, there has to be a tradition and some knowledge. Previously, people held it in memory. Prabhupada said the printing press was more a sign of degradation than advancement, because it meant that people, well, there was a transition period, but previously the Vedas were carried just by speaking. There wasn't, how did people become learned? They would just hear. And sometimes I think the modern technology, like I remember, I used to drive, I had no GPS. How did you get any place? It was impossible, right? No, but you did. You had to use your mind. How did Rupa Goswami write the Madhya-lila without a word processor? They did it in their minds. Their minds were so profound. It was so developed. So anyway, by what I call the transcendental system, which is God's system of connecting souls. God connects the soul who needs knowledge with the soul who wants knowledge, as long as the prayers, the internal prayers of the soul who needs knowledge is sincere. That's how we come in source with knowledge, by our sincerity, God in the heart of everyone. So there is a communication system that's very, very subtle. God, so somehow or other, he made this arrangement. Synchronicity. Sometimes events come together beyond the probability that they will do so. And that's the connection of God. And that's the connection when a soul meets Guru, or a soul meets his spiritual path. It's often quite amazing. It's often some kind of almost coincidence. I think Kripamoya, Janavi's father, he came to one of our programs, and he described, I don't know, there was one guy, I forgot, he blooped and he threw the Bhagavad Gita in the ocean, or I forgot how it happened, but somehow it came up to somebody else, and that person became a devotee. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya meets Ramananda Roy, and then Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya go to a secluded place. And then Lord Chaitanya wants to get educated. He wants to continue his education. If you want to be advanced in Krishna consciousness, it's your taste for hearing. Jiva Goswami says that our taste for hearing about Krishna is commensurate with our advancement. This has to be like our interest. The people that are advanced in spiritual life, this becomes exclusive. This is what they're interested in. Not social media, not sports, not gossip. They're interested in hearing about Krishna. And these are the people that actually realize their eternal relationship with Krishna. So, Lord Chaitanya wants to be educated, so he asked the question, and it was a burning question on his mind. He said, Pada Shlokara Sadhya, what is the topmost verse that indicates sadhya-sāra, the essence of perfection? Because this is what Lord Chaitanya is interested in. So, bring you up to date, there's a series of verses. And what happens is according to your level of advancement, is something that's highest for you. And as the Shastra will present it'll present it absolute, that this is the best. So that person takes to it, but in a comparative, but it's only in that context. In the greater context, you can go higher and higher. So the first verse he gets is Varnashram. And he quotes a verse, Varnashrama charavata, purushena paramparam, that if you do your duties properly, your occupational and social duties properly, that's the highest worship of God. So I'm saying, well, how can that be? But I'll give you an example. Wouldn't it be great if Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and Vladimir Putin decided to follow Varnashram? they whatever it is, they're Kshatriyas and they decided to follow their Kshatriya Dharma, and they're Grihastas or Renat, wouldn't it be like incredible? Just imagine Donald Trump all of a sudden studying the Dharma Shastra and following it really strictly. So what would be wrong if somehow or other Donald Trump asked, what is the perfectional verse or something? And you said, do your duty according to Varnashram. And then there are all these duties, how to act morally and what your duties are in a principle. And, so it's like that. So he quotes that verse and it says, this is the best. But then he goes to but Lord Chaitanya says, Ehabhaya, this is external. Go more. And why is it external? What's external it's external to the soul, because the duties are following your material impulses. Even if they're channeled to advance you, still there's something external to the soul, which is your material impulses. So then he says, I want something higher. So what's something higher? Not only doing your duties, but offering the results to Krishna. Yet karoshi asana, see, whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you give the results to Krishna. But Lord Chaitanya said, Ehavaya, this is external. Something more. Why is it external? Because whatever you're doing is still based on the material impulses. So it's still, there's something still external to the soul. That's why he says Bhaya. Bhaya means this is external. So then he quotes a verse, well, then renounce everything in relationship to the body. Renounce everything. Sarva dharma parityajam. Give up all your duties. Take sannyas. Lord Chaitanya says, Ehavaya. Why? Because renunciation deals with the material world. To renounce something, you have to think about it. So it's still not fully spiritual. So then he says, okay, renunciation, but jnana mishra bhakti. Renounce things with the purpose of serving God. And he gave a verse. In other words, I remember Satyanandana Swami was once up in Barsana, and there was a sadhu that was performing arduous austerities to detach himself from the body. And he was really concentrating, but his goal is when he becomes completely detached from the body, then he can focus on Krishna without any mixture of material desires. He can, yeah. But it's still jnana. It's still, jnana means there's an analysis that you're not the body. It's like Sankhya mixed with bhakti. And we do that too. There's the verse, Teheno Smin Yata Dehe Komaran Yovanam Jara Tatadhyantara. Does that have anything to do with devotion? It's just saying you're not the body. But Prabhupada stressed it because he was so, because we're so immersed in the body, Prabhupada had to preach Sankhya. He had to say you're not the body and the discrimination between the soul and body all the time. So Lord Chaitanya said, Ehabaya, because it's still mixed with the engaging with the material platform. So then he says, Jnana Shunya Bhakti. Bhakti without philosophical analysis. And Lord Chaitanya's Eha Hoya. This is okay. Kichu Aru, give me a little something more. It's okay. Because then he quotes a verse, Jnane Priyasam. Giving up this kind of thing. Just sit at the feet of a pure devotee and hear about Krishna. Just sit at the feet and just hear about Krishna. Ananta was here yesterday and he told me a story of a godbrother of his who is a very simple man, disciple of Srila Swami. And then at the end of his life, he was dying. And, Srila Swami, came and told him very strongly, this is no longer your wife. You're no longer her husband. Then told the wife then, now you serve him in his last days. He didn't break up the family, he said the conception. And, and I will help you achieve perfection. And then the person started to speak. I forgot the whole story, but he started to speak things that were very profound. And people were puzzled because he was a very simple man. But the fact of the matter is, he said, whatever my guru wanted, I did. He told me to distribute books, I distributed books. He told me to clean the temple, And he achieved something very, very wonderful. But it was just, serving and hearing. That was just his simple conception. So Lord Chaitanya said, this is, anyway. But Lord said something more. And then he described prema bhakti. Not just ordinary devotional service, but anya vilashita shunyam, jnana karma, something like that, prema bhakti. And he gave some verses that the reason why prema is so tasty is because when you have thirst and hunger, water and food have much more relish. So prema is an intensity for God. And that intensity for God, the desire that I want God is so strong that it creates in the consciousness a sense. Okay, I should get back my computer this week. After I sent it for repairs, I got back a wonderful message that there's nothing wrong with it. But my Russian devotee hacker who can do anything went through it and somehow fixed something. Okay, can the spotlight be put on me again? I don't know how that works. Okay, people are probably getting frustrated. So, yeah, so this bhakti, you develop a tremendous thirst. I want Krishna. And then I want Krishna creates the conception I don't have Krishna. And that makes devotion so relishable. So what Caitanya says, hey, oh, hi, this is good. And then Ramananda Roy quotes a verse, Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavato Mati. The intelligence, Mati, Krishna Bhakti Rasa, is Bhavata, is absorbed in Krishna Bhakti Rasa, in one's relationship with Krishna. And the qualification for that is lobha, or our greed for it. Our greed for it. And that greed comes from doing exactly what we're doing. And I see how the process works. We have to hear, until we actually accept the message. You have to surrender fully to Guru and Krishna. Fully. Like that simple guy. It doesn't mean renunciation. It means, because some of the orders are attachment, could be surrender to Guru. Get married, he may tell someone. So that's the entrance to bhakti. That's sharanagati. That's when you get shelter. The whole world is making us, by hearing again and again and applying and being frustrated in life, and applying and being frustrated in life, we'll finally come to the point where we'll surrender. We'll make it exclusive, and from that will come real taste. That'll come real taste. It'll come, and we'll come to that point from our frustration, because nothing else will work. And to help us, Krishna will make this material world so miserable. It's just falling apart left and right. So I don't know how we look at it. I guess it's a tragedy. Maybe spiritually, it may be a mercy for us. Because we have so many other shelters besides God. And we don't even like to hear that. Because we're so attached to so many petty things. But one day, we're going to lift our hands in the air and we're going to say, Krishna, from this day I'm yours. We'll have no other choice. But there are devotees that have come to that point, and I'm seeing it. It's very impressive. And they're so blissful. They're so blissful. Their interest in life is this, Krishna consciousness. Their intense interest. They want to learn. They want to know. They want to practice. And I meet them, my friends, running on the street. I meet these people. And even in Krishna consciousness, it's Venushanam Sahasreshu Kastidyati Siddhaya. It's still rare. It's a process of purification. Okay, it went 5 minutes. Yeah. And when you associate with those devotees, it's so inspirational. It's so inspirational. Yeah, Govardhan is really now such a place now with that Govardhan Retreat Center and Brajvasundar and the Bhaktivedanta Ashram, the various Vaishnavas. Actually, Sham Sundri was here from Colombia, and her and Jai Jagannath did Dandavat Parikram. And because of her thing, she was only going to go up to Radha Kund. But as they kept on doing it, they gained more and more strength, more and more strength. And when they got to Radha Kund, there were 4 days left. And they said, okay, we're going to make Manasi Ganga. And they were going morning and evening, sometimes 3-4 hours a day. and Andreas showed me a video. I'm suddenly moving. But I saw her before she left, and she got something. She got something. And even she wrote me from New York before she went to Columbia that she was in separation from Govardhan. And it's just what I say, because initially she came, I can't enter, I can't, it's difficult. Everything's different. And what are you here for? But because the ecstasy is not in the form, the ecstasy is in the bhava. Mm-hmm. And when you attain the bhava, then your vision of the form changes. That's the holy name. It's just boring. Hare Krishna, Krishna, repeating it again and again. But when you get the right mood, then it becomes pleasurable, and the external activity of the holy names becomes attractive. So, but anyway, then he says, I want something more. He says, dasya-prema, mamata. It's not just love of Godhead, but it's a sense of possessiveness. It's not just om, param, param, dum, high and so far, not just like this, high and far. But no, it's mamata. It's my master. It's something really exclusive, very intimate. And he quotes a verse, and Lord Chaitanya says, Eho Hoya, this is good. Kichu Aramor, give me a little something more. And then he talked about friendship, where there's an equality with God. And the equality with God means an intimacy with God. And therefore the love is somehow more forceful. And then Lord Chaitanya said, Eo Ohaya, something more. And then he said, well, in this verse, vātsalya-prema, when you have a superior position to God, the love is even more forceful. And of course, the love is affection. Affection comes from above. The term vatsalya or anugraha, affection in Sanskrit is the same word as mercy. When they say affection, they mean mercy. Mother's love is affection. Husband and wife, it's affection, but real affection is from above. And mercy, the love of mercy is, I am your protector, I am your maintainer. So it somehow creates even a more forceful love. And now Lord Chaitanya says, Eha uttama. He goes from this is good, from this is best. But there's best, better. Well, it's best, but there's more than that. So now he gives a verse. He gives some verses to show this. Nandakim makarod brahman shreya evam mahodayam yashodava mahabhaga papau yasyastanam hari. Ramananda Roy continued, O Brahmana, what pious activity did Nanda Maharaj perform by which he received the Dhanurdhara performed by which he received the personality Krishna, of Godhead Krishna as his son? And what pious activities did Madhya-lila perform that made the absolute supreme personality of Godhead Krishna call her mother and suck her breasts? Nemam varincho nabhavo nashriya apyanga samsaya visaram lebarya gopi yatad prapa vimuktiyat. The favor Madhya-lila obtained from Sri Krishna, the bestower of liberation, was never obtained even by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, nor even by the goddess of fortune, who remains on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. So what does Lord Chaitanya say? Prabhu, kahe, uttama. This is best. Age, kahe, speak something more. Roy kahe, kanta-prema sarva-sādhya-sāra. The Lord said, your statements are certainly getting better and better one after another, but surpassing all of them is another transcendental mellow, and you can speak of that as the most sublime. Ramananda Roy then replied, conjugal attachment to Krishna is the topmost position in love of Godhead. So somehow or other, although everyone is satisfied in their own relationship with Krishna, satisfied in their love with Krishna, the relationship with Krishna, is still something that's more in each one. Prabhupada said that you can have milk and you can have sugar, but if you combine them together, you can get sandesh, burfi, rasgullas, rubbery, kheer. So variety is the spice of life. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and he enjoys the flavor of love in different varieties, and it's reflected here in this world. But the conjugal relationship is kama-rup. It's the form of the most intense, insane love is conjugal affection. But in the material world, the consciousness behind the intensity is so much mixed with selfishness. But in the spiritual world, it has that form of intensity, but the energy is the pleasure of someone of the other. And therefore it has this quality of bhava or prema in the most intense form. And therefore it's considered the topmost. Even though they're absolutely all perfect. But that's the nature of God. There's no duality. Something can be more perfect and the other one is also perfect, and one is more perfect. Therefore, Prabhupada describes the spiritual world of Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka as perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. Perfect means it's nothing better, but in the spiritual world, there can be perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. And this is what Lord Chaitanya is seeking. And now from what's here, it will continue with the shlokas to describe what is that type of love and the love of the gopis, that it's so forceful that God can't repay it. Because Krishna is serving everyone, the gopis are just focused on him. So their love for him is more intense. So it's so wonderful. And that's what we're seeking. We're seeking where consciousness, we reach our fruition in love, and we're seeking to somehow get over this material impulses and just give ourselves fully to Krishna and be connected with that energy. We're connected with God's energy. When we want it, then we get God's energy. His energy of love, which energizes our consciousness, which is the pleasure of God, which he shares with us. Because love is a shared thing. So if God's pleasure is love, and we are the abode or subject of love, then God's enjoyment is shared with us. Yeah. And that's why Jiva Goswami says, and I repeated this many times, the reason why Krishna doesn't appear in our heart immediately at once by hearing the Bhagavatam, as his claim, is because we don't perfectly hear messages that we don't like. But we have that faith in Guru, we have that faith in Shastra, we've been enlightened, our conception of the world works, we can actually have knowledge, and we have some taste, and we have some experience. So we're going on and on, but not hearing fully. But by doing that process, and by the material world frustrating every other single material protective agent through the deterioration of our bodies and our minds and the world and the environment and our ability to control, then eventually, by God's mercy, we'll say, from this day I am yours. We'll enter that door of Sharanagati. And we'll embrace pure selflessness, universal love. I'm serving everyone because I'm serving the center, and the center is everything. And I'm serving everyone. And we live in that world of pure love without any other selfish desire. And that awakens our heart to our true knowledge of a thirst for God and therefore a relish for devotion. Okay, anybody like to say hello? I'll do a second.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this class was gold. It was so amazing. And, you know, this is one of my favorite subjects.
No one can hear, right? Can anyone hear? 1 second. She said this class was gold.
Oh, no, Maharaj, we cannot hear you.
Gail?
We cannot hear you.
Okay.
Okay, now you're back. I think.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, Gail?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, one of my favorite points, there were so many, but one of my favorites was when you said that our bhava determines how we experience form. You know, that was...
Yeah, I like that. It felt kind of original. And I knew Gail, who's heard 203,000 of my classes and challenges me to say something new, would like it. Okay, great.
Wonderful. I'm so happy you're speaking on this Ramananda Samvad. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. It was so many important things for me. Thank you greatly.
Caitanya-caritamrta, so nice to see you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here. So great to hear from you.
Hey, See you soon in Brudge.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Amala.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Great. Thank you. Great. Okay. Who else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaja. Govinda.
And Braja, thanks for
Thank you
class.
for class.
Haribo.
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 Looking forward.
Lal, I'll see you soon, right?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And you're just going to leave Braja at home, slaving away, working while you're enjoying your Vrindavan?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
I'll get it when I get back.
No.
Braja, remember that. Remember that. Put it on your list.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
Okay. All right.
Haribo.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class.
Wow, I saw your daughter yesterday on Prabhupada's Disappearance Festival.
Yeah,
With
I know.
all 33 Vyabhichari Bhavs, jubilation, ecstasy, crying. It just was one after another. Okay.
Oh,
Haribo.
that's very nice. Good for them. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thanks for the class. I couldn't hear it properly. I'm at Chandra Sarovara now.
Oh, okay. Great.
Thank you so much.
Radhika. I saw you on and I knew you had trouble. That's why you like this side of the hill, because we got a good router. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you so much. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Govardhan Bhakta, Haribo, are you coming to India anytime soon?
Not Maharaj. Not now.
Oh, you're building your house, right?
Correct. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
And marriage is there in June after marriage.
And then the marriage in June. Okay. Maybe next year. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Shankishore Das.
And Hamalata Radha Maharaj.
Thank you for wonderful class, Maharaj.
We'll see you soon. I'm getting Jai Jagannath, the Kinshana Krishna lined up for the Puriyatra, so we'll really have great kirtans.
Haribol Maharaj, this is Haribol Maharaj. This is Bhakta Mikey from Philadelphia. Hare Krishna.
Hey, Mikey Prem. You know, I saw you the other day, and I was trying to figure out who was this. It's great.
Haribol, how are you?
I'm good.
The classes have been wonderful.
Let's
good to see you too.
Let's touch base just personally sometime, okay?
Absolutely. Haribol Maharaj.
Send me an email with your information. Great to see you. Okay,
Hare Krishna.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Gopi Gita. Thank you for class.
Shama Sundri is going to come back, and you just listen to her. She's got so much.
Yeah, I saw her this morning.
Really?
She's already here, yes, on Mangalati.
She got so much in Govardhan. Wow. Amazing.
Wonderful.
So listen from her, hear from her. She'll share her realizations. It'll be very good for you. And she'll give you mercy because by your service, she was able to be here.
Good. Perfect.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, that was a wonderful class. I don't know how you always take it to a new higher level every week. Thank you so much.
Henry, where are you now?
I'm in Dallas. You know, I flew down here for John V. Harrison's concert tomorrow. I just spontaneously had to jump on a plane and see what was going on. And last night I went to the, in front of Lord Kalachandji, she led the Damodar Astika prayers for about 200 people there. It was just incredible.
When's the concert?
The concert's this evening, you know, at 7 o'clock at the Irving Arts Center. And please, all the devotees come. And, you know, it's going to be really incredible.
Has it got a good response?
Oh, yeah, really good response. You know, I mean, it's a 5-city tour, you know, New York, Chicago.
How was
Dallas,
it in New York? Did they get
I
good
didn't go to
crowd?
New York. This is the only one I'm going to, but in New York, it was incredible. They told me it was incredible. That's why I had to come down here. She's got a great group.
Wow. Wonderful seva, Henry.
Thank you,
Serving
Maharaj.
the Vaishnavas. Great. Okay.
Great to
Haribo.
see Mikey here. Great to see Mikey here. Got to say that.
Unbelievable. Mikey
My
Prema.
dear friend.
Mikey Prema. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Haribo. Okay. Anybody
Haribo,
else?
Henry. Haribo.
Haribo, Garage.
Whoa.
Also good to see Mikey Prema. Blast from the past.
Joe Cayley, you got your Chaturanga haircut there.
This is my morning hair. Thank you, Garage, for class, though.
Are you coming to anything? Any retreats?
Of course.
Which ones?
Me and Karuna and Kayla are going to come to Govardhan and probably come early or stay later. We're not sure yet.
Okay, well, let me know. Okay.
I will let you know.
The rooms book up. Okay. Okay,
Absolutely. Wait, Garage, do you have time this week to talk about waves of devotion? I've been working on it pretty heavily.
Yep, I do. Just send me an email. We'll coordinate it. Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Haribo. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to read now. Vanchakalpa Tribhya Sakapa Sindhu Devi.